I guess this is recording. I'm going to record with this camera because I feel that this video I'm recording on, I feel it's going to be rejected, pulled off, because when a blamer said at the UN when he was blaming a videotape for Benghazi, a videotape no one ever saw, he said, "Make no mistake. There must be no future for those that would slander the Prophet of Islam." You want to know something? Slandering the Prophet of Islam in Islam is just exposing what you think is stupid in the Quran or Hadith. Okay, Muslims tried to tell me that the Surah Al-Alaq, that'd be Surah chapter 96, isn't the clot, but is really the, quote, clinging leech-like substance. But guess what I found? Check this out from Sahih, Authentic Muslim. Okay, chapter 1, the growth of a child in the womb of a mother and his destiny in regard to his livelihood, his deeds, both good and evil. Okay, book 33, number 6390. Okay. Abdullah bin Masud reported that Allah's messenger, Papa, who is the most truthful of the human beings. Really? Wow. And his being truthful is a fact. That's added. Is a fact is added. And his being truthful said, quote, "Verily, your creation is on this wise. The constituents, that sounds intelligent, say constituents. The constituents of one of you are collected for 40 days in his mother's womb in the form of blood. After which it becomes a clot of blood." Quran says, clot of congealed blood. "In another period of 40 days. Really? Yeah. 40 days? We're blood clots as embryos? Okay. "Then it becomes a lump of flesh. And 40 days later, Allah sends his angel to..." So it's a blood clot for 40 days. Yeah. All right. "Then it becomes a lump of flesh, and 40 days later, Allah sends his angel to it with instructions concerning 4 things. So the angel writes down his livelihood, his death, his deeds, his fortune and misfortune. By him," that's Allah, "besides whom there is no God." I wonder how many times a Muslim hears "by him, besides there is no God." You think Allah would get tired of hearing that all the time. Anyway, "that one amongst you acts like the people deserving paradise until between him and paradise there remains but the distance of a cubit. Then, when suddenly the writing of destiny overcomes him," in other words, what Allah wrote before you were born, "the writing of destiny overcomes him, and he begins to act like the denizens of hell, and thus enters hell." In other words, you can have your patootie in the air, like, for all your life, maybe sawing off the heads, for ISIS and all that stuff, and then suddenly, you won't want your patootie in the air. Instead, you want to eat like a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. "And another one acts in the way of the denizens of hell." In other words, expose Islam on the internet, probably. "Until there remains between him and hell a distance of a cubit, that the writing of destiny overcomes him, and then he begins to act like the people of paradise and enters paradise." So in other words, due to the special instructions written by the most compassionate, most merciful, I could suddenly quit exposing what I think is stupid or evil about Islam on the internet, and suddenly have a big desire to have my patootie in the air 5 times a day on a prayer rug, or go to Syria and join ISIS. Yeah, and fight in the cause of Allah, obeying Quran 9:111, Quran 9:38, and Quran 9:39. Okay, let's see that again. I'll shorten it this time. Book 33, number 6390. Abdullah bin Masud reported that Allah's messenger, Papa, who is the most truthful of the human beings, and his being truthful is a fact, said, quote, "Verily, your creation is on this side. The constituents of one of you are collected for 40 days in his mother's womb in the form of blood, after which it becomes a clot of blood." Clot of blood? 40 days? In another period of 40 days. Then it becomes a lump of flesh, and 40 days later Allah sends his angel to it, and with instructions concerning 4 things. So the angel writes down his livelihood, his death, his deeds, his fortune and misfortune, by him, Allah, besides whom there is no God. You'd think Allah would get tired of hearing that all the time, but doesn't. I tell you, Allah, yeah, Allah loves hearing that. Again, I'll even shorten it even further to the point where it says this now. The constituents of one of you are collected for 40 days in his mother's womb in the form of blood, after which it becomes a clot of blood in another period of 40 days. And I'll further shrinking it down. After which it becomes a clot of blood in another period of 40 days. And further, clot of blood in another period of 40 days. Notice it never said like a leech, or like a clinging leech, or a clinging leech-like substance. It doesn't even say that. It says clot of blood in another period of 40 days. It says clot of blood in another period of 40 days. I hate to, you know something? Muhammad blew it. He blew it. He's a false prophet. An embryo is never a clot of blood, not even for 40 seconds, unless it's a miscarriage and comes out later with blood that has coagulated into congealed blood, a blood clot. And I'm thinking that's why Muhammad thought an embryo used to be a blood clot, because he probably saw a miscarriage and thought, oh look, it's got blood clot. It came from a blood clot. Embryo is never a blood clot. It starts off as a ball of dividing cells with no blood in it. Then it attaches to the urine. And I guess it could, kind of like be like a leech, as it's, as the blood goes back and forth between it. But it's never a blood clot. It's never a blood clot. Blood clot is dead blood. It's worthless blood. And Muhammad thought it came from a blood clot. He blew it. He blew it bad.